Hey guys, so I was asked to do a video on my process for the morning, so when I'm going to start trading and what I'm going to do. Um, and it's fairly simple in terms of the process that I go through, but it's just to help make the trading more effective in terms of what I'm looking for and how I'm going to trade. So, like we've said from the start, the goal is to identify high value levels that you could then look for an entry from within those levels. And that's just going through the charts on a higher time frame basically to see what's actually happening and breaking it down using the process that we've gone through already. So what I would do, say we're on the Dow here, we're on a 4 hour chart. I'll just go up to an hour. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, right, well, what's happened on the Dow so far on the higher time frame? So we've seen here that there was a low. So we had a change of character on the daily to the downside. So I'm just going to run through kind of my process because I want to draw the picture in terms of what's actually happening in the market at that time. We've then had a shock back up to the upside. So the high that created the new low was then ran and broken. So that's a shock to the upside first. So it's just a reverse shock. And that just reconfirms our position that we're long. Then I can also see that there, well, what was the order block that created that high? So we have a daily order block just here. I'm going to mark it out from the body high to the low. So it's the last bearish candle that created the break to the upside. So this was our low. This was our low that created the break. And this is our last bearish candle. So you can see prices tapped into this order block. And that's pretty much it then from the higher time frame. I'll mark this off as an order block so we know what it is. So we know prices tapped in. That tapped in while I was asleep over the agent session. So I'd have all this information laid out. So my bias now is a long bias because it's tapped in here. But I need to confirm that bias. A bias is just that. It's a theory. It's an idea. It's not factual. What I need to do then is locate the evidence to back up that fact, or sorry, that idea that I've had. So what I would then do is drop down to an hourly time frame. I know what my higher time frame bias is, and now I need to define if that bias is going to be correct. So what I can see here is a bit of a consolidation from the block, which is quite understandable. We have a weak low because it hasn't done anything yet on the hourly. So we had a low, a high, and a lower low. So yeah, again, I'm just defining everything. So that's the high that created the break of structure to the downside, which is here. And I'm just going to mark that off as a 1 hour break of structure. So that has come down to this level. It's failed to make a higher high. So right now the expectation is this will be ran. That's a weak 1 hour low. It hasn't done its job yet. Now that's not to say that again, it's an expectation. I don't know if price is going to just go maybe from here and start running up, but so far it hasn't given us evidence. There is a high, it's failed to make a lower low, it's failed to make a higher high. So we are consolidating right now. So there's absolutely no trade on. What would I want to know? Well, let's say in this case, right, does this high get broken? So does it create a break of structure by the high being created, failing to make a lower low, and then does it eventually come up, break and close this high on a 1 hour? So let's say that's a 1 hour weak low, or sorry, weak high, and I will put an alert on that just to say I want to see like what happens when it breaks this low. Same thing goes for this. This is the low that made the high. So we had a high and a low within one candle here, and then it made a higher high. Is that right? No, I'm wrong there. It's probably a 15-minute low. So if I drop down, so again, let's drop down the time frame. We can see there was on the 15-minute, we have a low, a high, created a change of character on the 15 minutes. So we have a 15-minute shock there. A low made a break of structure, came up, continued. So we have break of structure here. So 15-minute break of structure. We have another 15-minute break of structure here. and then a high. So then this is our new strong 15-minute low within this range. So we have that defined. Even though it swept all of these, you can see, and somebody asked me this yesterday, the difference between wicks and bodies. So on this 15-minute time frame, it only wicked this one, it didn't close below. And it only wicked this one. So although this is a 1 hour weak low, it's a 15-minute strong low. So we need to be aware of that. Probability for me would be that it's going to wick this low before it goes higher. Again, that's an expectation. Doesn't mean it's fact. So yeah, just to be aware of that as you go. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set alerts on these. I add an alert as I go through, and it's just levels that I want to see. Because this is consolidating now, there's no reason to make a trade. We want clear trends as we go. So like this, for example, this is a clear trend. It made a high, came down, made a lower low, just down here, made a low, made a high, pulled back into that level, and then made a lower low, lower high, and all that. So that's probably a little bit easier to trade than this noise here. I have nothing on, absolutely nothing on. I set the alerts to see where the market's actually going to tell me what it's going to do, and in that case I'll actually just set alert on this as well. Now I'm going to go off and live my life. I don't care about anything now. I'm not going to risk money on any of these trades. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And then, like, obviously when I get an alert, I'm going to see how the market is reacting to those levels. Then I'll come back and I'll sit down on my computer. I do this for Dow Jones, gold, and I do it for NASDAQ as well. So I'll just go through, I'll set my alerts and wait for something to come on as I go. I hope that makes sense. And again, as always, if there's any questions, just send me a message.